Welcome to the exterior of this 1961 Austin Healey 3000 Custom. Immediately you'll see that the hood isn't latched down all the way that is by design. It does actually sit down where it's supposed to. As far as condition goes, paint is actually in really decent condition. Trim I don't have any issues with. There is a custom latch down there for the hood. We just have a couple little minor chips, a few little minor scratches, a little paint rub here or there, but overall really nothing I'm concerned about. Front bumpers, grill, headlights, everything is intact. Badges, everything is as it should be there. Moving right along here, the fender lines, everything seems good. We do have these wheels and tires. The wheels are a good setup. Tires, however, are dry rotted, weather checked, and will need to be replaced, so keep that in mind. Moving up to the windshield glass, the glass is in great shape. The wiper arms actuate and work as they should. We just have just the tiniest bit of sealant on that windshield, just due to install. Not an issue though, in my opinion. Moving down to panel gaps, and actually panel gaps seem pretty consistent all the way around. The doors are a little old. They do kind of move a little bit with the latches. That being said, I don't see any indication of damage there at all. Moving down the rear here, we do have all of our trim intact. It's in decent shape. All of the pins for the convertible top are present and in good shape. We do have just a little bit of wrinkling right here on this trim. I don't think that's a big issue personally. Really, again, our wheel and tire combo is in good shape. We have just little exhaust tips poking out on the rears there. Coming around the back, we do see a little bit of dry rotting on the seals for the lights. Not a major concern, something that can be addressed, I believe, and rectified actually pretty simply, if you can find the rubber in these. The rear bumper, rear plate, rear badges, rear trunk latch and hinges, as well as fuel cap, all in good shape. I'm really not seeing many issues on the exterior of this vehicle at all. Again, we have panel gap that's a little off on these doors because they do move around a bit. I do believe that to be normal for this vehicle and not really an issue. As far as paint condition is good. A little cut and buff wouldn't be a terrible thing at all, but really not bad at all. Considering especially the vintage this car was built and made, it's in really good shape. You know, just a couple little minor little scratches, minor little chips, nothing game changing in my opinion. Everything is straight and flush and intact as far as the exterior goes. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome to the engine bay. Immediately you'll notice something a little unconventional in this engine bay. It definitely is not factory. Let's fire this thing up and talk about it. All right, so we had a nice easy warm start. Unfortunately it was warm. When I got here it did fire right up. We didn't have to pump the pedal or anything. Immediately we see the Chevrolet small block 327 stuffed into this engine bay. That is a to-do. You know, there is quite a bit of work involved in this. The engine actually runs great. We do have an aftermarket larger radiator there. We have a mechanical fan and our overflow bottle here. As far as any other fluids, you have a transmission dipstick for that 700 R4, your oil dipstick there. Both of those fluids look good. The levels look well. The fluid is brand new on both of them. I don't have any major concerns with the cooling system at this time. I will have to say though that there are a couple different active oil leaks. One being the valve cover. Looks like you have a little puddle there, as well as around the other side We do see a little indication of a valve cover leak there. And then if we look down underneath, we can kind of see an indication of a possible timing cover weep. That one's not dripping at all yet. It's just kind of wet with oil, which isn't abnormal. This has been converted to an HEI. It really starts well. It runs well. I don't have many issues with the engine setup other than a couple little leaks. You know, it's just something to keep an eye on, something, the nature of the beast of these small blocks. You know, it's an old Chevrolet motor. They kind of tend to mark their territory a little bit. As far as operation or concerns with the operation, I have none for this. It seems like it runs and drives just fine, and I do appreciate it. Thank you. On to the undercarriage of this Austin-Healy here. Immediately, it's a little hard to see much under here just due to how the car is constructed and the height of the car, which is not high. We do see what appears to be a little bit of a drip of oil, possibly an oil pan gasket, possibly a rear main drip. I don't really see a major issue, something that should be addressed sooner than later, I would say, in my opinion. But again, it's small block Chevy. Small block Chevy things do small block Chevy things. They do, especially the age, the low miles after this was constructed. The rubber wears out sometimes. It just is what it is. Moving on to frame and exhaust, I see no issues with rust on the frame, no issues with any kind of oxidization on the exhaust, really. Suspension, what we can see, appears like it's in good shape. The seller did share some pictures with me of the suspension further, and yeah, everything looked like it was in really good shape there. That being said, it is you definitely feel the weight on the front end a little bit more than I think the car was quote-unquote made to do. The front brake setups are factory. The rears have been modified to a Buick disc, and these are all mechanical. So bear in mind, they actually work really, really well. Let's go around to the back. All right, the back of the Healy here, we do have a GM rear end, solid axle conversion to match the 700 R4 and the Chevy small block. So it's a entirely GM drivetrain, which is in my opinion, I like it. We do see that we have evidence of possibly a pinion seal kind of weeping, as well as the rear differential cover gasket weeping. I wouldn't say, again, major concern, just something to be addressed in the future. Again, we don't see a whole lot of terrible oxidization in the trunk. Trunk floor is intact. Everything is good there. Side rails are good, and all pinch welds are really good down the sides. We'll try to get a good shot of that now, if we can here. There was some fixes done on some of those. However, they are fixed and intact, and all straight, not smashed up with a jack like we see so often. There we can kind of see the bottom of the transmission pan there. I don't see any issues with that at all, and actually the shifting quality of that 700 R4 is really good. I do appreciate it. Thanks. Welcome to the interior of this Austin Healey here, Austin Healey Custom. Immediately we see new good carpet, new good panels, seats are in really good shape, door closures and latches all work appropriately as they should. These are window secures up front and here. All that does work. Now we do have the steering wheel, which is just slightly off center while you're driving, something like that. Not a big deal. I think it doesn't affect the operation. It is easily adjusted. We do have aftermarket gauges for speed, fuel, tach, voltage, oil pressure and water temperature. Those all seem to work as they should. I didn't notice anything unusual with the exception of the speedo, which seemed to carry underspeed. And so, for example, if you're going 45 miles an hour on the speedo, you're actually going closer to 55 miles an hour verified by GPS. So that is something to be aware of for sure. As far as everything else, the aftermarket radio works and works well. Aftermarket shifter is a really super short throw, but feels really nice and is really easy to shift. We do have our rear view, works well, nothing wrong with it, and our ignition key. Everything else seems like it's in really decent shape. Could use a little bit of a detail. We do have a slight amount of carpet wear right here near the bottom of the kick, but not a major concern. I don't think you'll need to replace this carpet anytime soon, personally. A little bit of wear over there just due to age is what I would anticipate there. Overall, the interior of this, minus the pedal box, which is very, very small. I have maybe too large of feet to operate this vehicle comfortably. Being 6'2", I actually stare over the windshield, but that's me. Otherwise, it's in really good shape interior wise, and I don't see many issues with it. Could use just a little bit of fine tuning and finish work, but overall really good shape. Thank you. Welcome to the trunk of the Healey here. Immediately we have actually a trunk hold, which is really nice. The rear deck or trunk lid is actually heavier than you would anticipate, to be honest. The latch is in really good shape, actuates and operates just exactly as it should. No issues with the spring or anything there. Striker is worn but still in good shape. We do have the rear mount battery and a kill switch, as well as an aftermarket electric fuel pump. All those things operate as they should. I would like to see some of this just cleaned up just a little bit, in my opinion. A little heat shrink goes a long way for me. However, it doesn't affect the operation. Everything works just as it should. As well as we do have some wiring for the lights. Again, a little heat shrink, a little work would go very far, in my opinion. Overall, the integrity of the rear is really, really high. I don't see any rust, any holes, any pins, nothing that concerns me. It has a fresh coat of trunk interior paint. Oh, well, not fresh, but it was repainted at some point. We do have a box of a spare seal and a few other odds and ends, as well as the factory number plates, which are really kind of cool. They should have gone on the inner fenders that were chopped away and modified, so that's really cool. We do have a temporary spare. Again, just like the rest of the tires, weather checked, it needs to be replaced. We do have a toolkit here, and that is actually all intact. I'm not going to dig that out, but I did check it, and it is you have a jack, and you do have the lug tool as well. So an upgrade I might do in the future is to actually get a sealed unit battery for this, just to, one, get rid of fumes, and two, discount any kind of chance of corrosion. But that's my opinion. And other than that, everything operates as it should back here. We do have just one minor little issue with just a little bit of rubbing on the side. You know, I mean, it does rub a little bit on the closures, and that is to be expected, I think. I don't think a whole lot of adjustment you can do really to get rid of that kind of issue. Otherwise, everything looks really good back here. I appreciate it. Thank you. Conclusion video here of this 61 Austin Healey Custom. Really, it's an experience to drive this thing. It's really nice. Even though my little head sticks up above the windshield, it's still a cool experience. It does have that Chevrolet drivetrain, 327 700R4, and a 10-bolt rear end, all in good shape. Little minor weeps, drips, and dribbles, but other than that, I don't think a terrible thing. you know, we have some age on this, and there's some signs of wear and some signs of enjoyment. And, you know, overall, realistically, I don't believe anything is too terribly bad or not serviceable. You know, tires definitely do need to be addressed. As far as the throttle valve cable and any kind of issue there, I really experienced none. Shifted through all four just fine. Again, pedal box is tight, steering wheel is off center slightly. Other than that, really no major concerns or issues. We do have some oil leaks that need to be taken care of sooner than later, in my opinion. But that being said, all in all, I am a fan of this vehicle, and I do like it. It's just a nice, interesting piece of automobilia that somebody put their heart and soul into, which is really cool. All right, well, I do appreciate your time. Thank you.